sou a diretora da Efígie e estou aqui muito feliz hoje para recebê-los na nossa primeira webinar, na verdade mock class. O webinar é um outro evento, a mock class são as aulas que geram certificado para todos os alunos. Tivemos mais de 90 inscrições para o nosso grupo de hoje. Vamos receber o professor Tobias Starler, que vai falar conosco sobre um tema muito importante, um tema que é a bola da vez, que é a inteligência artificial, uma tendência de marketing entre os profissionais. Antes de falar e agradecer ao professor Tobias, eu gostaria de explicar a todos os alunos aqui presentes como vai funcionar a nossa mock class esse ano. Todos os nossos cursos estão divididos em trilhas. Serão 4 trilhas, onde a cada mês vocês poderão percorrer uma trilha diferente. A primeira trilha esse mês é Engenharia, Inovação e Tecnologia. E, portanto, a cada semana teremos uma aula diferente ligada a essa área de inovação, tecnologia e engenharia. Os alunos interessados poderão se inscrever gratuitamente para fazer as aulas a cada semana, e os alunos que participarem das 4 aulas, das 4 mocks dentro de uma mesma trilha, no final do mês poderão participar de um sorteio. A cada aula que vocês finalizarem, vocês já podem buscar no mesmo Simpla que vocês criaram uma conta, a disponibilidade estará lá dos certificados de vocês de cada aula. Então, peço apenas 24 horas a partir de amanhã. A aula de hoje, dos alunos que estiveram presentes, que fizeram check-in, terá disponível para vocês o certificado para vocês poderem retirar. Então, os alunos que participarem e conquistarem 4 certificados na última aula estarão participando de um sorteio de prêmios muitíssimo interessantes que a Efígie vai fazer para todos os participantes. Então, todos vocês ganham e ganham muito. Hoje, quem estará apresentando o professor conosco é a Carol Couto, parceira nossa aqui, uma das responsáveis pelo nosso programa de aconselhamento da Efígie, e que fará toda a recepção do professor Tobias e a apresentação dele para o início da nossa mock. Thank you, Professor Tobias. Thank you for staying with us. And Carol, com você.
Obrigada, Lara. Thank you, Lara. Hi, everyone. Hi, Tobias. Are you ready?
There.
Hello.
As ready
Always.
as I am. Always.
All right, so I'm sure it is a great class and it's an honor to watch. I'm going to be a student here, just noting things down because I love marketing and especially AI, right? Artificial intelligence. So please, can you just a little bit of introduction?
Yeah, sure.
Great.
Yeah, so hello, everyone. I got a mock class today, so welcome. I'm situated in Berlin at the moment, so this is the new Arden Center we've got outside the UK, and I work mainly in the field of corporate communication, marketing, PR, and I joined Arden as a full team member in April 2020, so just within the first lockdown, and it was a bit of a sensation there. I changed my job, but I had no office, right? So I taught from at home, and this is the same situation again. So nevertheless, welcome to education, higher education. And today we speak about artificial intelligence in marketing. And we will look or gain a specific perspective by looking into empirical results from a study which has been carried out in 2018 and 19 on 208 marketing managers on their perception of this mega trend, artificial intelligence. And this is the focal point today. I'd also like to point out that this is such a kind of a case we do usually as an additional teaching activity, and all of our classes are focused on online courses, online content basically, but we dive deeper with this sort of activities, with this sort of slide sets which look into a specific case, a specific topic, or present just some issues from the field of practice. So without further ado, I'll share my screen and I walk you through the presentation now. Later there will be time for questions and answers, of course, but now we would like to, I'll just see if I did it right. So you just give me a hint if there is nothing to be seen.
Yes, it's
Yeah?
starting. There you go.
Now it's starting. Okay, that's much better there. Okay, the title is AI, Marketing Megatrend Among Marketers. And I think this is quite telling. So we were not looking at how different possibilities and different software solutions evolve on the market, but we would look rather how marketers perceive the AI megatrend among their companies, among their marketing departments. This is what we have been looking at in 2018 and 2019. And the presentation objectives are those. The presentation consists of 3 parts. I just have to rearrange my my Zoom a bit. Okay, better. First part is the needed vocabulary. So I guess today we're rather heterogeneous, and I don't know exactly about the background of all of you. So I just very briefly skim the needed vocabulary, the needed trends, or terms, trends, megatrends, also marketing, and of course artificial intelligence. Then the second part will have a partial summary of a recent study which has been carried out among marketers of the DACH region. So this is Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, partly also Liechtenstein. So this is called the DACH region. So basically the German-speaking countries in Europe. And last but not least, there will be some concluding remarks and reflection on AI as marketing trend, and also how to perceive mega trends as such. So this is what we do. So let's start with the vocabulary, some preconception there. So when I say what's a trend, it's quite easy, of course, to understand. So if I say there has been a trend towards short-term mortgages, it means more people are now taking short-term mortgages. In other words, there has been a tendency towards short-term mortgages. So a term is a general way in which a particular situation is changing or developing. There is no need that the whole situation will be stable at some point, or any sort of final destination is to be met. There's always a trend. There will be a trend. The next trend will be quite new and changes the whole movement, the whole change. And on the right side of the slide here, you see some etymological specifics on trend, where it comes from, where it stems from. Basically, it comes from Middle English called trenden. So this is a term which is meant to revolve or turn or roll about. Quite interesting for those interested in language there. Right, so this is trend. So what's a megatrend? Let's say a megatrend is somehow bigger. The legendary futurologist John Nesbitt created the term megatrends in the 1980s. So it's quite new, the idea of megatrends. These are developments that profoundly change not only one of our systems, which make up the environment. So it is further embracing the market, society, economy, and technology. And recent megatrends are called globalization, individualization, urbanization, digitalization, etc. just one example could be the basic technological cycles in the economy, for example, and in society, etc. also have their share. They have been explored by the famous economist Nikolai Kondratiev in the 1920s, and the economist Joseph Schumpeter turned them into the theory of creative destruction. So this is one of the megatrends. Today we'll be looking at AI, and the idea is, or let's say, the question is whether this is just another version, another name for an ongoing trend, or whether this is something totally new. So this is our aim there. Let's stop with the megatrends and look at artificial intelligence. Recently, there's a webinar called Elements of AI, and this is a free webinar. You can all take it. I think it was originally created by the University of Helsinki in Finland in the year 2019. And Finland is one of the top countries when it comes to higher education, and also the level of average education in the whole society. So no wonder that they came up with, let's say, a course for everyone on artificial intelligence. And this is roughly based on it when it comes to the structure. So what is apparent is that AI has no clear definition. Even AI researchers have not, let's say, the definition of AI. This is rather a field which is constantly redefined. Some topics are classified as non-AI, and some new topics emerge which are AI. Basically, it's quite aligning with an old joke, an old geeky joke, that is, AI is defined as the cool things that computers can't yet do. But to give one example for AI, it would be facial recognition. Yeah, so image and video processing and facial recognition is already a commodity used in many customer, business, and government applications. And one concrete example, I'm speaking from Berlin here, we have one company which does video processing, and they are analyzing basic human emotions. Very interesting thing, because we can all train ourselves to be top media players, so to say, right? To express, let's say, political stability when we are politicians, and to smile into the camera, even though we just lost an election or something. But for some milliseconds, we will revert to our original feelings we have. And normally the eye can't perceive that, but AI can, of course. And this is then done by a software application which runs automatically on the video material. Very interesting thing there. And we've been visiting or paying the company a visit about a year ago. Very interesting there. Right, so this is one example. And there are other things we can talk about. We will continue to use this sort of slide with the 4 points: a hot topic, different things to different people. It usually docks at what is defined as human intelligence and how it will change our lives when we reflect on marketing and how marketing will change. So you will see almost exactly the slide again, only this is more general, and the second slide is on artificial intelligence as a marketing trend. So to look at artificial intelligence would also mean that we have to look at society, what society is talking about, and we see there's a huge media coverage on the whole issue of artificial intelligence. It's impossible to avoid that. Then it's quite clear that artificial intelligence means different things to different people. So it can mean that it's a bit docked at science fiction, right? So The idea of AI is that it surpasses human intelligence. And remember the 1997 chess match against, I think it was Kasparov against Deep Blue, right? That was one of the victories of AI, something which never happened before, that a computer actually beats a human chess player. And this shows, that's a nice bridge to the third thing, that it usually docks at what is defined as human intelligence, and everything we call AI has to be compared or will be compared to human intelligence sooner or later. And the question how it will change our lives, of course, it really depends on what we're out for, what our needs are. You can look at the slides, there are a lot of other possibilities. Just a slide ended with plus a different human network, so this is it. Okay, so much for artificial intelligence. This is, I think, enough to start with. And then finally, we'll look at marketing. So now I don't know if you all have a, let's say, a marketing bachelor or some preparation when it comes to this session here. I just had just one slide in marketing. This just looks at just one thing, and this is the marketing process, a more enlarged version from Cutler and Armstrong. And basically, you know that marketing is managing profitable customer relationships, and it's a concept. So to speak with Method, one of the top marketing professors here in Germany, it's a concept of market-oriented management. And only the very last step of the marketing process captures value from customers. And the 4 steps before that actually cost money. So we do a lot, of course, to pinpoint an exact marketing budget and to discuss with our board, with our CEO, to spend money first, and then the aim is, of course, to capture value from our customers. Right, so much that there are some focal points of differences when it comes to the definition of marketing, but we don't want to go into detail here. Just if you have questions on that, of course, I'm happy to answer those. When we now combine AI and marketing as of yet, and we look at certain things which are at the moment possible with machine learning, propensity model related stuff, and AI application, we see that AI already gets a hold on marketing and all the different tasks we have to carry out as a marketer. So this is a representation of the so-called RACE model: reach, act, convert, and engage. And on different positions of this model, we can find at the moment things which relate to AI. So let's start with propensity. This is the majority of tasks which are fueled by something with relation to AI is the propensity model task or other propensity model tasks. And this is, propensity is a natural tendency to behave in a certain way. The propensity model is something like a statistical scorecard that it's used to predict the behavior of your customer base, or let's say just a cluster of this base. And propensity is calculated by some applications of mathematical or statistical models in order to try and predict whether some customer will take a particular action at some point. This is what it is. Machine learning, so these blue circles are also a sub-area of AI, and with the help of machine learning, IT systems are enabled to recognize patterns or upcoming regularities on the basis of existing data and algorithms, and they develop solutions for these. One example which I came about basically was dynamic pricing. I remember it was about 2 years ago, and I know now that the Lenovo website features dynamic pricing, and due to some major fail there. It showed me on my screen like prices about $1 to $1.2 million per laptop. So that was basically one of the fails of machine learning, so to say. Right, so I didn't buy a Lenovo laptop then, of course. And yeah, finally, AI applications. So these are ready-to-use software solutions. There are not so many yet, but growing in number. And for some types of content, AI content, for example, natural language generating is used. So these programs are able to pick elements from a data set and structure, for example, a human-sounding article. So in journalism, this is very interesting. Other marketing-based AI applications can be used for email marketing, for example. Efígie is one good example. This is an AI technology to generate and optimize effective subject lines for emails so that it more reflects the interests of the unique customers. So, lots of things, but how do marketers see and perceive the trend? And all the things we can look onto this slide here. So we come now to the second part, which is some insights on a study on AI. It was much work to find enough marketers to take part in the study. I think that was the most important thing, the biggest challenge we've got, and we've had I think 4 or 5 major access points to the network, and actually one access point was really fueling the whole research process. It couldn't be done without it. You can later ask me what that was, so quite interesting there. So but for this part, so the summary for the empirical review is divided up in 3 parts. We first have an overview and perspectives on the study. Then we will look on 2 slides, how AI will change marketing in the future. And finally, a typification of marketers based on a multivariate analysis. We'll finish this off. So now, of course, studies are not just a product, but also a process. So our process, the start of the process, was to do some expert interviews as a preparatory base for the whole study. This was done with experts from Coca-Cola, VW, MarketLogic, Software AG, Xing SA, and some others. And they were really loosely done with a guideline, with let's say handing over the steering wheel to the experts. That was really much fun. And I've been partaking in some of these expert interviews, and all of them were quite different and led to other fields and applications of AI. Then the second part was the full quantitative onset on the future of marketing, with 208 marketing managers and 204 fully answered surveys. 82% have more than 10 years of work experience, so that renders the whole survey as a very expert survey there. So I'm very lucky about that. And my ex-bosses too, so it was her, basically her idea. So the takeaway is the marketing definition of AI, evaluative results, and of course also prospective influence on the whole field. And the core of it was a strategic typification of different, let's say, personas of marketers. Right, so the first thing that came out was that AI was really well thought of. So about 80% of the managers believe that AI is important in marketing overall. 61% say that in their own marketing department, it would be really great to have it. So AI is seen as very important for the marketing departments, and it's more important for the marketing department compared to other departments. But only 30.8% actually use AI in their companies. That's very interesting. And when it comes to marketing, it's even less, right? So only 26.5% use AI of some sort, application, machine learning, doesn't matter, in their marketing department. And only 7%, mostly in bigger companies, they 77%, they understand that they apply AI measures extensively, so that leaves some room for development, doesn't it? Right. Let's further down here to question 8, question 10 of our survey. And here we structured it all along, let's say, the basic marketing features you also find in marketing modules. So we've been designing items on the basis of strategy and planning, 4 Ps, some marketing tasks and customer insights or data usage. And you can see basically here that the use of AI in marketing seems to be rather data-driven. Right? So customer insights is one of the top features, and using data which is produced by customers is one of the most important things. The 26.5% of those people who are using, those of the marketers who are using AI render important. Right. There seems to be 3 groups of people whose idea of AI is quite similar. So 3 groups are forming when we look at that. There is a distinctive group of marketers who are of the opinion that AI is something bad. So it might destroy even more than it helps. It's kind of a small group, but they are there, right? Then there's a second group, and they don't seem to have a clear idea of what AI is, but they are sort of collecting buzzwords around that topic, and they are, partly they're fans of AI. That's very interesting because they don't share so much knowledge on the fact, but other marketers are driving the trend, and they let's say they also are partaking in that case. And the third group is a group of managers who have a clear idea of what AI is for them, and usually they say something like, it's the theory of and development of computer systems able to perform tasks normally requiring human intelligence, such as visual perception, speech recognition, decision making, and translation between languages. Very interesting is that we don't have so much knowledge, basically, right? So both items for knowledge about AI are rather low, but this also underlines the fact that the marketing AI as marketing megatrend is rather new, and let's say people don't yet feel that they know as much there. So, how will AI change marketing? So lots of people say that it's very important for marketing. 93% of the managers do say that. 85% say AI will change marketing. 77.5% say that will be a competitive advantage in marketing. And for some, AI is even a bigger trend than social media or the internet, 46, respectively 33%, or anything, right? So almost 40% of those answering the survey say AI has a bigger influence in marketing than all other megatrends before. So that's very interesting. Look at that one here. This is again focusing on the change of AI And now we look into the team setup. So basically we have some data which underline that the team setup of a marketing department is about to change. Data analysts will gain in importance. And many marketers also say that the more creative part of marketing is losing in importance, or it's losing some of the weight it has. 63% believe that the number of data scientists will increase. I think 71 do not expect job for creative individuals, but the rest of them do actually. So there will be some change also in the marketing departments and within the team, on the team level. Now, while we were doing the first step of data analysis, and this is usually done when the whole survey is through with about 100 respondents. So then usually you already begin to analyze data. Of course, things will change during the later on the survey, but what you do, or the reason why you start data analysis then is you structure data analysis. You see first patterns which emerge and things which will be then important later on. So we did this too. And we soon found out that no matter how well we word the different items, none of our items showed statistically showed let's say a proper result. So we've had to do something, right? So and then what we've done is we've identified several perceptive items on marketing and AI in marketing, and we've created 6 types, right? So the mere fact that all of the results had an error likelihood of above 5% was then changed into the good. So that was, I think, the core of our analysis that came up with originally 10, and then later on we boiled it down to 6 types of marketers with regard to an eye. So I think the most, let's say, funny group was the embracers. So these are the fans. They have the highest agreement, all positive AI statements. There's no negative thing about it, but they don't share the knowledge, for example, which is among pragmatics and data-driven optimizers and strategists also. Then we have data-driven optimizers. They have, let's say, the idea of them is that basically data science and data analysis will increase in importance, and they look out for a high or an efficiency development when it comes to the marketing budget as such. Opportunists are basically saying that it's nice, it will come handy for the whole marketing process, but they don't look into the far future, so there are no long-termers, so to say. You always have skeptics around, no matter what trend you're on. So here we have very low agreement rates to positive statements on AI. And basically the idea is that they will destroy the marketing jobs which are there at the moment, and also sometimes they are of the opinion that marketing will lose in importance. Strategists, that's out for a long-term view, so that opposes the opportunists, so to say. So they will that they are of the opinion that AI will optimize the company's strategy, and it's used basically for strategic planning. And there's a significantly lower agreement to increase the importance of data science and revolution in marketing. Finally, pragmatics, that's just a tool among other tools, and we will just use it to get the best out of it. So they set this tool, or they see this on one line with other tools in marketing. There is no specific manifestation of, you know, a huge new thing. They don't see AI as something new. That's just the ongoing application of tools coming up, and whether this or another, let's say, classic tool is used, they don't really care, so to say, right? So this is the pragmatic view on that one. So let's look how these 6 types perform in terms of different perceptions of AI trends. This is on question 4 to 8. So how important is AI for you today? How well is your knowledge about AI? How good is your knowledge? How good is the knowledge about AI in your marketing department as a whole? And 8 was, to what extent do you currently use AI in your company? So this is just some information on how these groups developed and how this clustering was made and how it all looks like. Here we have still 204 of our survey respondents, those with the full data sets. Here we have only 64. This is all on question 10 and the different items there. So to what extent do the following statements apply to your marketing department? And here we've asked the question only to those who are currently using AI. So that were 64 out of the 204. And basically what you can see is that there are some overlapping of these manifestations of the variables. Basically, the most positive answers is produced by the embraces. And of course, the most negative, normally on average, by the skeptics. So now, here we start with the questions which we have been using for creation of the creation of these groups, and I don't know how far I can go, but basically question 15 to 18. So for example, this one, what is the influence of AI in companies in general? These questions we've been using to form these groups. So we first did an explanatory factor analysis with something called oblique rotation promax. So basically they zoom into the differences the groups have. And then we had a factor-based segmentation of the 204 respondents, and we identified 10 clusters, and we then boiled them down to identify the centroids, so the most central parts, and got rid of those who are not so different, let's say. So we boiled them down. I think this is the best description for that. And then we applied something called hierarchical clustering to it, and came up with the 6 clusters we had there. Right, so this was question 16. 18 was also among those. This is the impact of AI on corporation marketing. And we can also see that skeptics believe that the size of marketing department will decrease, the number of data scientists will increase again due to AI. Embraces believe that the size of marketing department and the number of data scientists is more likely to increase, and the number of creatives is to stay the same. And yeah, this is, I think, the second last, and this is the last slide on those 6 groups. This is on the possibilities of AI in marketing. So when we look at the matrix, when we bring these 6 types in a matrix, and we have here the number of employees in the company and the perceived market leadership, we can see that most of the pragmatics, they work in smaller companies. They have to make do with what they get, also as a marketing budget. We can also see that the data-driven optimizers, they are working for bigger companies with high perceived market leaderships, and the rest is a bit scattered in between, basically. Kind of interesting to use these groups to visualize them against the company variables, so to say, right? Okay, so let's now conclude this whole session. So this is the last slide of data from the slide set, and now we come to two conclusive slides. First on the additions to the megatrends. What can we learn for looking onto megatrends? And second, how is it with artificial intelligence among marketers? And this is the repetition from the other slide, just more focused on the AI field. So for megatrends, I think I have to explain some things. So first of all, AI is a suitcase word, right? And one cognitive science, which is also quite popular, Marvin Minsky coined this term, suitcase word. It's a bit like an umbrella term, so a word that carries a whole bunch of different meanings, which come along even if we intend only to use one thing. And using such terms increases also the risk of misinterpretation, such as, when we talk about AI, it will be very different, not among just marketers, but also among marketers. It would be even worse when you have a talk show and you have one politician and one guy from a church and other people from, let's say, a public institution, etc., and they all would discuss on AI as a trend. I think they would all have a different understanding here. And this is the thing. So when we look at megatrends in particular, and because they spread so many society systems, it's quite hard to capture the core of the meaning, right? So we have different perspectives, and also we have to check on what is called societal soliloquy. So the discourse in society, and the discourse is going on AI, and you won't find anything without emotion, right? So the more people you ask, the more emotional the response will be on all the megatrends. It's the same for globalization, individualization, etc. And it's the same for AI, right? And last but not least, I found with Matthias Hawks, which is a futurologist from Germany, one good citation there, which is megatrends are important for companies to work on a strategic level. This is still the case, but it's also a necessity that a company doesn't just use, let's say, one department on a megatrend. So you can't just work with your marketing department on the megatrend AI, but you have to involve all different departments to get a rounded off view on AI. So it's also, for example, important to involve the human resources department, right? Okay, so this is one thing. And this is the slide from the very beginning. So artificial intelligence, this time as a megatrend among marketers. Let's conclude for the 4 points which we pointed out at the start of the presentation. We said that it's a hot topic, and this is quite true, and data underlines that. So AI is considered significant for the future success in business. We have lots of marketers who are stating that this is the most important change at the moment. Yes, we only have 26.5% of the marketers who actually use that. And this says it's not just a hot topic, but it's a very young trend, young mega trend, and still goes on. It's just the beginning. So the second thing, it means different things to different people. We've identified the 6 clusters, and we basically said, well, there are fans, there are high expectations, but relatively low knowledge. And these oppose pragmatic experts, which say, oh, this is just one task among others, and it's just our everyday task. We're doing it every day, right? There's nothing so special about it. And the third point, it usually docks at what is defined as classic marketing. This is quite true. So we also have to look at the structure of the study, and what we've done, we also created the whole item sets by looking at different marketing tasks to make it perceivable, to make it understandable to all the marketing experts, whether they do AI things or not. But this may soon change. And as a lookout, maybe it's an important thing to take the next step and to speak in particular with the bigger companies, which are kind of pragmatic, which pool the whole knowledge about AI, and do the next research step as a qualitative one step, to speak to these experts to drive this further. Last but not least, it will certainly change how marketing is done in the future. Yes, sure. So we see that there are at the moment just a few people doing data analysis, and they will gain in importance. We have a growing number of marketing departments where the CIO or CDO is taking on responsibility, which is growing. So also the let's say the structure and the head of the marketing department will change due to this trend, right? Yeah, so there are some limitations to the study. One I just talked about, and there are others. Basically, when you at one point say, okay, I'd like also to take on with such a big study, or a bit of a smaller study for your master thesis, just one point of advice: think about what you will do to data before you start into the field. This is, I think, the most important thing, right? And to answer this question beforehand, the most strenuous, the most arduous thing we've had during the whole study was to provide a good data quality. So to work with raw data and to level the quality up to a point where you can say, now we can do some data analysis and there will be some good outcomes. That was, yeah, the most tedious part of the work. Right, there are some sources used. That's it, so to say. And now we have some time for question and answers.
Yay!
Oh, 10 minutes ago, right.
Look,
so,
I was noting down lots of insights, of course. And we were receiving, like, for the 20 minutes ago, from 20 minutes until now, lots of questions.
Oh, that's cool.
From YouTube. All right, so I'm going to read them, okay? And you guys, pessoal, vou falar com vocês, mas em inglês. You guys, if you have any questions, okay, Tobias here to answer them. We have 10 minutes, so it's a good time, right, for Tobias to help us understand, right, AI and marketing. I'm going to shoot one question, and Tobias will answer, and then we'll go for the students. Okay, guys? So, one second. So the first question. Are pragmatics afraid of AI, and why?
No, they're not. They are through, I think, this phase of feeling this is a new thing. Oh, we're so excited about that. They settled down, like all the other things we've had during the whole, let's say, history of marketing. They've just there are these innovation curves, you might know, from marketing, and they're part of the innovators. So they've innovated, or they've used this innovation as one of the first, and now they just settle down. For them, it's an everyday thing to do, right?
All right.
I think that they're not afraid. They just don't see this as a glittering new thing, right?
I see. Yeah, it makes sense. Yes, exactly. Pessoal, perguntas, quem querem entrar na câmera ou no áudio? Vamos aproveitar essa oportunidade. So anyone who wants to talk to Tobias, a courageous one that opens mic and camera.
Yes, please.
Right, Tobias?
Oh, yeah. Sought after. Very appreciated.
Yes, you guys can write in the chat. Yes.
There.
Posso traduzir sim, gente. Pode mandar.
So Alessandro wants to make a question. I think we have to open for him. Just a second.
May I?
Okay.
Hi, Alessandro.
Hey, I'll open up my camera. Just give me a second.
Okay.
Hey, Alessandro.
Hey, how's it going? So previously you've talked about the scope of AI and its impact on marketing. And so do you think that maybe in the future AI can give birth to new megatrends?
Yes, I think so. Let's say what we've done in this slide set is not just capture, or let's say look at what is or will be technologically possible, but it was just about perception. Let's say human perception on marketing, marketers' perception on on AI. And what I think is that, and I hope that AI will change, let's say, the fitting between customers and companies. And this is something which isn't yet true. So I experience lots of examples where we don't capture customers with their needs, with their wants on the internet. And let's say you for example, you just bought a camera, and the algorithm is showing you lots of other cameras. Right? There's of course no sense in that. And I think what will be done with AI in the future is those things will be all optimized. We will have situations where no human is needed, where we also have adaptable solutions for marketing based on AI algorithms. And it will be a cool thing, and the best thing will be the situation when you don't actually sense that there's some algorithm behind it. So I think many of us have talked to chatbots, but I didn't even notice that. I didn't get the very last bit of your question, so maybe this is not the very correct answer.
Sure.
So could you repeat that again, just to see if I was right?
Yeah. So do you think that in the future AI can, say, give birth to new megatrends?
Maintenance?
Megatrends. Do you think that it can originate new megatrends?
Yeah, definitely so. Yeah, so I'll have to say this is so other megatrends, let's say, it will all change. I think for me, AI is just a continuation of digitalization, right? So basically, what has been started with the advent of the internet went on, and then the focus was reset in society. It was all on digitalization as a mega trend, and there were certain societal feeds which came up and were of a core interest then. Discussions are going on, for example, about digitalization in school, in higher education. And now we're into marketing. We call it AI. It will soon be renamed again, and it will be something else. So basically, yes. And I also like to name the futurologist again, Matthias Horks, who basically says, whenever a big megatrend is starting, it basically it automatically has or it drives some contradictory force against this megatrend. So there will be also something which is born by a megatrend which opposes the megatrend. So when you say there is AI in marketing, and this is very important, suddenly at some point marketers will revert back to classical features and classical tasks and just underline those. You can see that, for example, in the print market, where on the one hand everything has to be online. Online first is the buzzword, and newsrooms and news desks are installed in lots of offices. But let's say there is always still the printed products, and there will be in the future that will turn out to be luxurious products. They will be not focused on customers' interests. So to say, AI also, or let's say the digitalization, it was rather than AI, it gives birth to a more classical trend when it comes to this product, right? I hope this answers the question, but we could talk on forever.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what I was gonna say.
Thank you, Alessandro.
No problem.
Bye, Alessandro. Alrighty, guys. Someone else? I'm giving like 10 seconds. Oh, there you go. Oh, who is it?
Lucas.
Lucas,
Lucas, where are you?
I just want to congratulate you for the class.
Oh,
thank you.
There you
Thank
go.
you so much. Very appreciated.
Thank you, Lucas.
Right, and so this is one good example on what we do. And by the way, this is also the reason why we dock marketing with data analysis on the master level, right? So there's a good combination, and a part of the master studies for a marketing focus, we already combine it with data analytics to just underline the importance, for example, of this megatrend.
Yes, exactly. I have one interesting question from Iago. Is there any chance that AI will develop emotions?
Good one. Right, so this is the science fiction field, right? Okay. Maybe not. Oh, what can I say? Perceived emotions, yes. Perceived emotions, yes. But to say, okay, I have a question. Can it develop emotions? We just look at what human emotions are. So we are comparing it to what we are and what our intelligence is, and we are emotionally driven, right? So when we ask this question, it is like we would form a question: Will AI become more human-like? And I have to say, I don't know, right? So I don't know. Maybe in the future there are so many movies on that, right? Starting with Blade Runner and all that. The question whether some robotics or iRobot or something will have the ability to form emotion I'd rather say not of this type, but I'm not into technical field. So I'm a marketer.
Yes,
I don't know whether this will be true. What is true in terms of machine learning? Machines are able to perceive emotion and to react upon it, right? So this is already possible.
Exactly.
But to form emotions of their own, I don't think so. In the near future, not.
There you go. All right, Liv, you can unmute yourself. Liv? I think she's having difficulties.
Just drop it into the chat, maybe.
Yeah. Tá mudo, Liv.
Oh, thank you. I did the presentation yesterday, so I wasn't.
It's kind of automatic, right?
It wasn't all settled. I was just thinking, why the heck had I this slide here so much? What did I say with that? Thank you.
Yeah.
So just for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So I think Liv couldn't.
That was not Liv that wrote in chat. It was someone else.
No, someone else. Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, Liv.
Hello.
Oh, there you go.
Liv, hi.
Well, I'm sorry. Something happened with my microphone like a time ago, and then I had to change the microphone settings. So that's why. Okay, so I have a question. When it comes to small businesses and changing employees to AI, is it worth it, like really worth it when it comes to small business? Because somehow will this be bad for the small business?
Yeah, so good question. You mean the all over trend? Is it bad for small businesses? It really depends on the industry. I might say. So I think for technical startups, there's always some new place, and they can really thrive with AI technology. Given, for example, a small Berlin startup which is called Webasaurus, and they provide trained technicians and searches on the internet. And what they do is qualitative search, but with AI algorithms. And they are basically a good example for a student company. So the guys were studying, I think 4 years ago, and then they started a business, and they're still growing. Webasaurus. So this is, I think, the name Webasaurus in Berlin, and it's of course not bad for them, right? So they're experts, and they basically focus their company idea, their business idea on the trend. For others, I might just say that they can partake in that, right? So they can buy specific advert space which is backed by algorithms of that kind, or they can buy some services. They can let data material be analyzed and get the results out of that. They can decide themselves of how far they would go, how much money they would spend on that, and with that they can also partake. So I don't think the trend is, let's say, only for the big ones. But what I see is that the knowledge about AI as a trend is very much focused upon by the big companies, because they, for example, when it comes to development, they have a strong budget, they can develop their employees, their staff much better, and also they have a sort of a gravity. So lots of people go to big companies like Zalando because they also see that there is space to develop, and this is driving them towards these companies, and that they also attract employees from all over the world, right? So, but I don't think this is just cutting off smaller companies. No.
Yeah, they still will need like the part of the human interaction. Maybe I think that we're going to miss that somehow, right?
Yeah, could be.
Hopefully, please. All right. Okay. Thank you, Liv.
Thanks, Liv.
Thank you all for answering my question.
Of course.
No worries.
All right, Tobias. So it was good for us to have these few minutes after, right?
Yes, it
good
was.
questions.
Thank you. Good question.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you all for being there, for taking your time. I understand it's just afternoon there. I'm already going to bed in a few moments.
Yeah.
Right.
We do have some questions that are popping up, but I will send you via email, and then I'll find somehow to answer them, okay, via email.
Yeah, that would be nice. Right.
Okay.
Happy to attend those.
Ok,
Thanks
pessoal, toda
for
pergunta
having
que
us
tiver,
today.
a gente responde daqui a pouquinho, tá? All right, thank you, Tobias. It was very good. I have so many notes. Thank you very much.
See you around. Bye-bye. Take care.
Tchau, pessoal. Bye-bye.
Wait a second.
Bye-bye.
There's one more question in the chat.
Yeah, I see it now. AI and data is going to be the new fossil. Yeah, it's readily available, Matthias, right? And you can use it also with small companies. So I've been supervisor of a master thesis, and basically the student, what he did was to create more efficient e-vouchers, etc., and to aim them at customers of a small Chilean coffee shop. So even very, very small companies can use that. And you're quite right to say it's available. It's like, maybe not fossil fuels, it's maybe a more advanced thing, more sustainable and all that. But I think also small companies are able to take part in that. Right, and they have a larger debate. Yeah. For students, though, it's quite important to, before you start on, let's say, to write a master thesis, to see if data sets are readily available and to have access to the field. This is, I think, the most important thing for students. So look out for that one. Thank you. Is it true that in the future AI will replace jobs like pilots and actors and doctors? Yeah, so AI does something, right? So when it comes to marketing, I could say yes. So there are basically some things which are related to AI, and they're more efficiently done with AI algorithms, right? So you can, for example, spend money and time more on other things. Like you have a chatbot and not someone who answers the chats personally. And this is the bare truth, right? But we will find other means of, other tasks to attend, I think.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So any questions you have, you can find us on WhatsApp or email, and we can email Professor Tobias, okay? I like this. I like the excitement.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tobias. Have a nice night.
Good
night.
Farewell. Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.